human being. Aradhana Lal. Aradhana Lal is a Senior Vice President, Sustainability and ESG at the Lemon Tree Hotel Group. Aradhana is a TEDx speaker with 32 years of experience in sales, marketing, corporate communications, and sustainability. She currently leads sustainability ESG initiatives at the Lemon Tree Hotels, including DEI. The company's strategy is to build an inclusive employee base and has been hiring employees with disabilities for 18 years. Today, there are approximately 375 employees with disability, around 1,200 economically and socially marginalized employees, making it a total of over 18% opportunity deprived Indians out of their total employee base. She has, over the last 13 years, run internships with people with Down Syndrome and Autism, as well as trials with visually impaired and low vision. This is in addition to the speech and hearing impaired, acid survivors, and orthopedically handicapped employees the company already hires on a regular basis. If you haven't heard me, I will repeat all of this again. But if you have actually heard me, let's put a big round of applause as I invite Aradhana to spend some time with us.
Hi folks, I know it's coming to the end of 2 days, and I know you guys are excited to get this over with, but let's put a little bit of a spin on the story and tell you something new and something different. Firstly, I have a connection to what's going on here. I'm a career sales and marketing person. Right now my role is sustainability, but out of my 32 years, I've spent 20 years doing sales and marketing. The panel discussion before this, I came especially to listen to it because I simply had to know more about that, and it was fabulous. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen who were on the panel before this. Secondly, I'm ex-Hindustan Unilever, so another reason for me to be here today, be very excited about it. What makes me different now? So that was what made me the same as you. What makes me different is I take care of an area of work called sustainability and ESG. Is there anyone in this room who has not heard the word sustainability or not heard the word ESG? Any such person? Okay, great. I can see a couple of hands. Is there anyone who hasn't heard the word diversity or inclusion? Have you not heard these words before? Okay, great. So sustainability is basically running your business beyond profit, looking at how you're impacting the planet, how you're impacting people, and certainly how your company is making profit. So I'm with Lemon Tree Hotels. Can I see with a raise of hands how many have either stayed at a Lemon Tree or visited a Lemon Tree, maybe for a conference? I love it. I love it. I need my sales guys here to look at this. So we've been around for 22 years. We have 120 hotels. We are in 76 cities. 3 of them are outside India. And we've now got more than 10,000 rooms. We occupy the space of 3-star and 4-star hotels. So that's the segment we belong to. The reason I'm here today is this, which is the inclusion and diversity work that we do. We actually have a business model, or we have an HR strategy, you can call it, which is built around inclusion and diversity. What I liked about the panel before this was it had a balance of men and women. Sometimes it's very hard to find that balance in expert panels like this. So I really like that. And I also like that designation, chairwoman. It was not chairperson, it was chairwoman, which was really nice. So I want to talk about what are we doing at Lemon Tree. Many people ask us, why does Lemon Tree go for inclusion? There is actually a business case. Now, I'm talking to all of you who belong to multiple sectors here. Many of you are with FMCG. You could be with automobile. You could be with any kind of organization, actually. Inclusion can be taken to any sector. It's not about the hotel business. It's not about hospitality. Yeah, we do it well in this sector, but you can take it to any. And I know none of you are HR guys. You're all marketing folks, and you all are research guys. But you can take this message to your HR folks. So we have found that by opening the doors to people with disability, we are actually opening up to a bigger talent pool. And this is very interesting in the hotel sector because you're competing for the same set of people who are coming out of hotel school, coming out of aviation school, and they're moving between hotel companies. So we open the doors to people with disability, and suddenly the whole equation of the recruitment pipeline changed. And you guys who've seen your teams move and change over the years, you know how hard it is to hire talent, train them, and then retain them. we found that there's a better sense of creativity. So we've got people in our team who are deaf, somebody has low vision, someone's autistic, someone has an intellectual challenge. And because of these reasons, each of them is negotiating daily life based on their other strengths. And that's what makes them very creative and very different. Sometimes they find solutions to our operational issues, say in a coffee shop, or say at the front desk, or maybe in housekeeping. Something is there which is not getting resolved. But a person who's different, who's diverse, can think differently and often come up with a different kind of a solution. Very, very interesting stuff. Employee engagement. This is one of the biggest reasons we have thought that our work is successful. Our employees, people who don't have disability, they are very proud and they are very satisfied to be part of Lemon Tree Hotels. How do we know this? We participate at Great Place to Work. I'm sure many of your organizations do. And we've been amongst the top 100, and in the recent years amongst the top 50, amongst the top 10. And when they do the quality interviews with our team, and they ask them, why do you keep working at Lemon Tree? They of course say that we see a lot of growth. After all, they've grown with us with 120 hotels. But they also say, I feel very proud and very satisfied because this company is so inclusive. I've not seen this kind of thing before. So that makes it a reason to be engaged. Attrition. You all would be aware, I'm sure, that losing team members is something that will happen in any sector. In the hotel sector, it's as high as 50%. So that means at the end of your year, half your entire team has turned around. But with the team who's got disability, with the team who belongs to an economically marginalized segment, we find that these attrition numbers are half. So if the company is at 55%, this segment is at 25 or 30%. And we find that to be a very useful number to look at, to analyze. Look at it as a guest or as a customer. When a customer thinks about Lemon Tree and understands that we are into inclusion, they've never used us before, they've heard about us, they may actually come and try us out. So trial takes place. All of you researchers here, I know that your goal for the brand that you're working with is to build trial, to build return or loyalty to your brand, and to build recommendations so that your guest or your customer is passing on that recommendation to somebody else. Now, this inclusion piece of work makes it happen at Lemon Tree. It's really wonderful. So after he's stayed at the hotel, he gets good service and he wants to come back again. And some of them actually want to recommend you. And they do this recommendation informally in their own company amongst their friends. And they do it formally, which is they go on to Make My Trip, maybe to TripAdvisor and Booking.com, and they put detailed feedback about how they experienced Lemon Tree and the kind of service, the quality of service that they got from people with disability. Remember, our guest or our customer won't compromise on quality just because the person serving him is deaf or the person checking him in is a person with an orthopedic handicap. They still want the check-in time to be 5 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever. They still want to receive their breakfast in under 5 minutes. So quality cannot be compromised, and that's where the hotel company has to focus on training. That is why they'll write these recommendations, otherwise they won't write them. If you look at it from the nation-building lens, basically we are representing a slice of society because in our society, there are people with disability everywhere, in our homes, in our communities, in our geographies. So why should they not be in our company as well? When we do this, we offer them dignity, we offer them a chance to prove themselves, and I think that works pretty well. Those of you who don't know Lemon Tree, I've already mentioned this actually, 120 hotels, 78 cities, I was wrong, and more than 9,000 employees, and almost 11,000 rooms. These are our 7 brands at the bottom, please. Aurika is in the upper upscale segment. It's not a 5-star, but it competes with 5 stars. Lemon Tree Premier and Lemon Tree Hotels are both in the 4-star and 4-star plus space. Red Fox is an economy brand. And Keys is a brand that we acquired 5 years ago, also in the 4-star and 3-star space. So that's our portfolio. Just to tell you, we started this work in 2007. That means 18 years ago. And today we have about 17.5% of our employee base is either a person with disability or a person from an economically or socially marginalized background. I will tell you in a moment what that means. And our target for FY26, by the way, we declared this target 5 years ago. So we are chasing this target for the last 5 years, is 20%. We call this segment Opportunity Deprived Indians, ODI. It's a word we've come up with, which basically means those with disability and those from economically and socially marginalized backgrounds. The abbreviation is ECOSOC. In disability, we've got speech and hearing impaired, physical handicap, acid survivor. We also have the more difficult disabilities, such as intellectual disability and Down syndrome, as well as autism, plus low vision. So with each different disability type, you have to provide training in a different manner. You have to assign them or align them to roles differently. I'll talk about that in a minute. In the economically and socially marginalized segment, take a look. We engage with and we train orphans and abandoned girls. We have a very good program going on with the Delhi government, in fact, and there's an apprenticeship that goes on with more than 50 of them right now. It's going well. Then we bring in widows and divorcees who are obviously in need for making money for themselves and their family, transgenders, people below poverty line, and school dropouts. This is very, very important. There's a whole segment of society that won't get a job because they didn't do class 10, they didn't do class 12, and certainly they didn't do college. At a hotel company like ours, there are some roles where we can bring them in. We have to make sure our training is appropriate because the task should be handled well by them. Their education won't matter at that time. There is a model that we've developed. I'm going to touch upon this very briefly. I know you're not the HR and the learning and development team, but I'll keep it simple. Any organization can bring in people who are different. They can go for inclusion if they go through these 7 steps. The very first one is the vision must come from the very top of your company. It has to be your chairman or your managing director or your president or your country head who leads this idea that inclusion is a business model or an HR strategy and it's got nothing to do with charity. That's really very important. This gets cascaded to all the CXOs. So it's not an HR initiative, it's a company-wide initiative. So your head of sales, head of marketing, head of any kind of operations, head of brand, finance, and in our case we have engineering, housekeeping, and so on. So every person who leads this team or any team must be aligned to this inclusive thinking. So the same would go for any of your organizations. You need a dedicated resource, which is me in the case of our company, because there's a lot of pilots, there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of experimentation that has to happen, innovation. Without that, this idea won't work. Sensitization, you need to make the other employees aware that what is this disability all about? If you have a deaf member in your team, what are you going to do? So do you know we teach Indian Sign Language to all our employees? So today, every employee at Lemon Tree knows Hindi, knows English, and knows Indian Sign Language. It's really quite interesting. We also have to tell them, how do you work with somebody? So suppose you bring in an autistic member in your team. Suppose somebody with Down syndrome comes into your team. As a co-colleague or as the boss of that person, how are you expected to work side by side? We give you training on that as well. That all comes under sensitization. Job mapping is a little bit of a detailed task. You're basically looking at every role in your hotel. Suppose it's the front desk. Suppose it's the housekeeping boy on the floor. Suppose it's the executive who's serving you at the cafe. What are the tasks that person does on a daily basis? Usually it's about 20 or 30 tasks. And if you're deaf, can you do all these tasks? If you're autistic, can you do all these tasks? The answer will be no. There'll be 4 or 5 tasks in each disability which cannot be done by that person. The reason is the disability is stopping him or her from doing that. So technology is certainly one solution, but the other idea is that you remove that task from their job definition, and that task is done by another person. So that's the whole process of job mapping. It's a very detailed thing, but you don't need that much detail today. Partnerships. There is no chance at all of being successful in inclusion without the partner NGOs who understand this space. I think you could tell from the previous panel that the client and the agency, this whole idea of consumer insight, it's not going to be real without that partnership. So similarly, the whole idea of inclusion will only work if we have partners along with us. The 6th leg to this is we set up traineeships and internships. So we don't just bring in hundreds and hundreds of people like that. First, we set up little pilots and we bring in 5 or 10 people. We work with them for 6 months to a year. We train them on the ground. We train our team. When the whole thing is working smoothly, then we make a job offer. This is in the case of the complex disabilities, like Down syndrome and autism and so on. In the case of deaf or low vision or physical handicap, we've been doing this for 18 years, so we don't need to run any pilots anymore. We just hire them and then we take them through training, which in the case of deaf, we do in Indian Sign Language, and so on. We do it in the way that is best suited for that particular disability. The seventh one is really important, everybody. If your organization decides to experiment with this, until you scale up and make it organization-wide, it is not inclusion. It is only an experiment. So do remember that. Well, that's just a group of people in our company. But if you look a little closer, you will see people with Down syndrome, which are here, 2, 3 of them. You will see people who are deaf, which you cannot tell by looking at them. That's here, here, at the back here. You will see people who are autistic, that is this person. And you will see managers and other team members. So what we're trying to show you is, we run the organization as an integrated team. So there are people with and without disability in every team. There are people who are at the starting point, the mid-level, the senior level, all people with and without disability. And there are multiple types of disability. That's what I wanted to show you guys. And now I am going to ask for that video to be played. And I am actually going to end 5 minutes before my time, unless somebody wants to ask a question. So is that video ready? We need some sound.
जब ये छोटा था तो मुझे पता नहीं था कि ऑटिज्म होता क्या है। जैसे जैसे ये बड़ा होता गया मेरी टेंशन बढ़ती गई।
Person with autism has a difficulty in social and communication skills. If we see कि कितना अच्छे से वो डस्टिंग और सारा रूम बनाते हैं, बट वो रूम बनाने के पीछे जो चीज़ें होती हैं वो बहुत सी मेहनत की जाती है उनके साथ। जो भी एक टास्क है उसको SOP को भी बहुत छोटा छोटा ब्रेक करके और उसको सिखाना, एक मैनुअल, डिफरेंट मैनुअल बनाया जाता है
जो कि नॉर्मल बच्चे नहीं कर पाते। ये इतना कॉन्फिडेंट हो गए कि मम्मा मैं हूँ आपके साथ, मैं करूँगा।
आई थिंक सो कोई भी इतना परफेक्टली काम नहीं कर सकता जितना वो कर रहा है घर में।
आज मैं गर्व फील करती हूँ कि ऐसा बच्चा मुझे मिला है।
So folks, we also run hotels, by the way. About the dogs, I want to say, we adopt a dog at every hotel of ours, and this is an indie dog or a street dog. We don't go for breeds. And it's wonderful, I cannot tell you. And obviously we inoculate them, feed them, bathe them, clothe them, all of that happens. And the beauty, return guests who come again and again, they make friends with the dog. So they come and meet the dog. Like it's crazy stuff. So that's my piece. Is there any question anywhere?
Thank you, Aradhana, for sharing such an inspiring insights on inclusion. And your journey at Lemon Tree has been truly transformative. Thank you.
Thank
Audience, the floor is open. Please share your questions on the portal. And we have a couple of questions. First question, what advice would you give to organizations just starting their inclusion journey, especially regarding hiring people with disabilities?
Organizations that are starting
Starting the inclusion journey.
Okay, okay. So if you remember that 7-pillar model, before you bring in people with disability, you need the whole organization aligned. It's actually about building a culture. So starting with your leadership and the leadership team, do that pre-work and that dialogue in advance before the HR and training teams and the D&I teams actually start going out and engaging with anybody. Do that strategic dialogue first. Then let those teams go out and engage with a handful of NGOs, because they are the ones who will first guide you on what will it take to bring in someone who's deaf or someone with a physical handicap or somebody who's blind. And they'll tell you what you need at your organization. They'll come and visit you. They'll do a bit of an assessment. So start there with the preliminary work and then walk through that model. Do the whole planning piece, the sensitization, the job mapping, the partnership building, and start with a pilot. I would really urge you, you don't have to say that from tomorrow we hire deaf, we hire physical handicap, we hire everybody. No, you can pace yourself out over 1 year or 2 years, do a few pilots, 3 months at a time, 6 months at a time, understand those disabilities well, find out the problems first, and then make it part of your regular hiring. It'll work well.
Another question, Aradhana. How do you make the business case for inclusion to stakeholders who might be focused primarily on financial returns?
So there's no direct relationship that you can establish mathematically between diversity and inclusion and your financial performance. But you can certainly find linkages and you can certainly find insight, and I know that everybody in this room understands what insight is, between the kind of feedback, the nature of the feedback and the kind of numbers you see. See, when we examine feedback, we are looking at our internal system, which is the guest satisfaction tracking system. We are looking at external systems, which is the online reputation management situations, which is the Make My Trip and TripAdvisor and so on. There are scores everywhere. There are ratings, rankings, probability of return, probability of recommendation. You will keep examining these numbers with the qualitative feedback that we have received. And there will be a correlation between the two. And it is so evident to us that other than efficiency, see, efficiency is supreme. If you cannot run your hotel efficiently, things are not clean and hygienic, things don't work fast, the guest is not going to be interested. You have to take care of that. And then when they look at that inclusion piece, they are actually inclined. Do you know, we've had customers tell us in research and also in this kind of feedback that I choose Lemon Tree because I feel I'm contributing to the life of somebody who may not get opportunity otherwise in some manner. Because if he's going to spend 5,000-6,000 a night on a room, he feels that some part of that money is going towards that boy or girl's salary. And it's just fabulous because it is. That whole revenue eventually adds up to how we run our expenses, right? So we can find those linkages, but a pure financial one will be a little hard to find.
One more question, Aradhana. Can you share some tips and pointers on how to make market research more inclusive?
Market research, wow.
In terms of consumers who participate in our researches, making our surveys and tools more ability friendly.
Wow, wow, beautiful question. And you know, I should have been ready for that question and I'm not. It's just that because I'm instinctively a marketing person, I can respond. First, I want to say that we are not just an inclusive employer. We are an inclusive brand. That means when you stay at any one of our hotels, these hotels are accessible to a person with a physical disability, to somebody who's blind, to somebody who's deaf, and so on and so forth. That means the features in the product and the features in our services are inclusive. So that's the lens you'll have to take as research companies and as research professionals, that when you're setting up your questionnaires, whether they're going to be data heavy or quali, you need to find ways and means, whether it means having an audio version, a text version, whether it means if you're going to interview a blind user, then it has to be voice to text and so on and so forth. So you'll have to build all that in. And what I could understand from that make AI walk with HI piece was that you need to bring this into your questionnaires as well. So it was evident to me that it's going to be in the direction of inclusion. So it's very easy to do, but I can think about it more and come back with more answers later.
Thank you, Aradhana.